So today is the 14th day of Sivan, the 10th. No, it can't be the 10th. It's the 8th of June, right?
No, yeah. The 10th of June.
It's 4 days?
Yeah, hold on.
I keep forgetting.
It's the 10th, you're right.
It is the 10th, okay. Okay, so yesterday we delved a little bit deeper into the difference between when a person has knowledge of, when the faith turns into knowledge and when it doesn't. And so we said that you shouldn't be a thief, because a thief has faith in God, and yet will rebel against him. And in the middle of stealing, will call out to God to help him. So that means that on the one hand he has faith, he sort of understands what it means to have faith. On the other hand, it's not integrated. He's not aware of it. He's not aware of what he's doing.
It's more than that. In Yom Yom, the Rebbe brings out Rav Zusha, who brings out what you can learn from a thief.
Right? You can even learn.
There's milas, you know.
Yeah. So this is another thing that we learn, but this is a negative thing, right? So don't be like that.
Right.
Uchmochen yuvan ha'inyan lemala. So we're on page Memvav, Daf Memvav Amud Aleph, in Ha'amanos Elokus, in faith in God, in Derech Mitzvosecha. Uchmochen yuvan ha'inyan lemala. ממש באמצע עמוד. שבחינת נהי דזה מוכין לנוקבה, וביסוד מלובש מוח הדעת הנמשך מדעת דאבה, הנמשך מדעת עתיק יומין וריח אנפין, וכידוע, כל זה כידוע. So what's going on here? He's telling us the sequence of how the mindset comes down all the way down to where we are. So what's this mind? So he says like this: the Nehi Deza, which is Mochin Lenukva, the last three Sfirot, the Netzach Hod Yesod, the victory, acknowledgement, and foundation of Za, of the small countenance, it becomes the mind, becomes the intellect of the Nukva, of the feminine counterpart. So this is the normal way that the Partsufim, the personas, enclose one within the other in the Arizal's Kabbalah. It's one of his big innovations, that this thing called enclosement, and he took it to a new level. And we said that enclosement is different than what we call cause and effect interaction. Cause and effect interaction leaves the two things separate. So I have the classic example is billiard balls. One hits the other. They don't merge. They don't become one and the same. They transfer energy from one to the next, and then they part their ways. They go separate ways. In enclosement, it's like babushkas. It's one inside the other. So one is giving life to the other. In Kabbalah, to give life is to give mind. Meaning, to give someone life is to give him mind, to give him intellect, to give him Chabad. That's what it means. To give wisdom and understanding and knowledge to someone else, that is to enliven them. That's what also matures them. So the Za, the small countenance, and his feminine counterpart, they have this type of relationship. By the way, this is also the relationship in principle between a husband and wife. That the husband is supposed to enliven, to give joy to his wife. He gives it by giving her mind, by giving her mind energy. That's what he gives. So that's called Za, giving Mochin Lenukva. So the last three habitual sfirot, habitual faculties of Za, they become the feminine counterpart's mind. What does this mean? It means, like always, that you can't give someone mind by lecturing them. It doesn't work that way. You can lecture from now until you turn blue. All they'll be is maybe, bored. But mind you won't give them. How do you give mind? By action, by habits. Certain habits. So even if your habit is to say something nice every morning, every day, the habit is coming from the Nehi, the habit is coming from the habitual Sfirot, Netzach Hod Yesod. And whatever you're transferring, that could be, anything. It could be something you say, it could be something that you do, it could be something that you think even. You don't even have to say it. And this becomes the mindset of the feminine. Uvisod, and so the way it works here, melubash moach hadat. And in his yesod, in Za, in the masculine small countenance, his yesod, his foundation, in that you'll find the dat, the knowledge of the sfirot above him, the partzufim above him. Who's above him? His father and mother, Abba and Ima. We call them Ava, we just say Ava, because that's how it's written. Aleph, Vav, Aleph. Abba ve'Ima. So in the Mekubalim say Ava. So their wisdom, their knowledge, their das becomes his foundation. Because it's the same thing. They enclose one within the other, except that every time the Chabad goes down, or the Nehi goes down. So it depends on which variation it is. So here he's saying, in his Yesod you'll find their dat, Hanimshach midat atik yomin, which is also, in that, in their knowledge, you find the knowledge of the lower part of the crown, which is called the persona of the Ancient of Days. And Arichanpin, and also of the lower part of the crown, the higher part and the lower part. So what's going on here? So he's saying this whole thing, you have to learn this in the Arizal. What's the bottom line? The bottom line is, V'hu b'chinat gilui or ensof baruch hu badat, uvevchinat pnimiyut. So what you get from this is that when you are able to give your dat to someone else, your knowledge, you're giving them also the knowledge of the infinite. It goes all the way up. So dat, we said it opens up the chambers of the heart, the emotional faculties. But where is it coming from? It's coming all the way up from what we call the dat of Ein Sof, the knowledge of Ein Sof, of the infinite, knowing the infinite. וממידת מלכותו יתברך שהיא מקור נשמות ישראל מאיר הערת דעת זה לכל נפש מישראל לידע את השם שיהיה ידוע מציאותו על כל פנים ושהוא חיות כל העולמות והוא מפתח לעמידות. So this dot, it has another benefit that it also gives you a feeling of a connection to all the souls of Israel. It's not just knowledge of God. That's the important thing here. That this dot, at its core, is what we call the Malchus, the kingdom of Hashem himself, of the Ein Sof, as it were. So, when a person has da'at of Hashem, it's a very interesting concept. When you have da'at of God, when you have knowledge of God, again, not just faith, if faith becomes knowledge, you're also gaining a connection to all the souls of Israel. This needs to be explained more. Why is that? Why is it that? So the simple answer is very, very easy. Because all the souls of Israel are all part of God above. So if you become connected, if you not just you don't just believe there is such a thing. You don't just believe in Hashem. You also know Hashem. So you also create knowledge is always a connection. So you also create a connection to every other Jew. So that's the theory here. לכל נפש, לידע את השם, שיהיה ידוע מציאותו על כל פנים, ושהוא חיות כל העולמות, והוא מבטח לעמידות שמעיקר האדם, שיהיו נמשכים אחר הדעת, כי דכתיב לאהבת השם אלוקיך כי הוא חייך. And after that, like we said, it also opens up all the chambers of the heart, all the emotional faculties, and it gives you the sense, the recognition. Here we have to say that dat is like awareness, it's recognition that Hashem is the life force of everything. And especially your life force, and because of that you come to love Him, because we said it opens the chambers of the heart. And this love that is now opened up, it is the root of all the 248 prescriptive mitzvot, the mitzvot aseh. Just as a person loves to eat, and he loves to take a shower, and he loves to do all the things that sustain his body, because it gives him life. So, and even more than that, a person will want to do the commandments, the prescriptive commandments of Hashem. Because what do? They bring the life force of Hashem into all the worlds, not just into Him. Right? When I'm eating and drinking and taking a shower, I'm taking care of the life force in me, the personal life force. When I do the commandments of Hashem, I'm taking care of the life force of the entire world. I'm bringing the life force of Hashem into the entire world. So it's like I'm taking care of the body of the entire world, not just mine. And at the same time, because it opens the heart, you will also fear and be distant from the prohibitive mitzvot. Because what do? Because why did Hashem prohibit these things? Because they detract from the life force. So in the same way that a person is happy, hopefully, maybe not today, but in general, he's happy to refrain from eating things that are not healthy for him, and he's happy to refrain from doing things that are not good for his body. In the same way, he'll be happy to refrain and to not do things that will hurt the world, the life force of the entire world. So that's how we see the mitzvot. The 248 mitzvot that are prescriptive and the 365 that are prohibitive, they're not just for me. I see them when I do them, because for me, I don't need the Torah to know what's right. I can go according to my logic. I don't need the Torah to tell me. But if I want the life force of the world, which is godliness, to be in the world, to be sustained and held in the world, for that I need the mitzvot. That Hashem. So when a Jew is doing, again, so now we're coming back to the same idea, that when I have knowledge of Hashem, the knowledge of Hashem means that I come to a place where I'm serving Hashem not just for my sake, I'm serving Him for the sake of the entire world. That's what it means, that it's knowledge of the infinite.
So it's a counterforce. When a Jew is Machal Shabbos in Paris, it affects
the entire world.
So we have a counter. That's a counterforce,
right? It's detracting from the life force of the entire world,
which makes our work that much more important,
right? So, and that's what we always say, that if the nations of the world would know how important it is for Jews to keep Torah, then they would be the biggest helpers.
Or the Jews who don't keep Torah.
They would convince them. They would be the ones convincing them.
The ones that don't.
Right? Because the nations would come to them and say, why are you hurting our existence? It's up to you. You're the custodian of the world. It's up to you to keep the life force of the world going.
And you're not doing it.
And why are you not doing it? So they're not custodians. They don't have the right to punish someone.
Right.
But they have the right to come and say, why are you not doing it? They have the right to say, I believe in this. Why don't you believe in this? Right?
Yeah, the Rebbe always used to say, a Jew that the Goyim have an instinctual respect for Shabbat, because we did not boig it on our fathers.
Right. וכל תולדות אלו שבמידות ומהדעת דווקא. And all these extrapolations, all these things that come into the chambers of the heart, the emotions that ignite the emotions, they all come from this knowledge. Dafka. And if you don't have knowledge of God, then it'll never happen. ונקרא מפתחן, it's called the key, ושורשו מידעת שנמשך במלכות האצילות שהוא בחינת פנימיות בכנ"ל. And as we explained, this knowledge comes all the way back from the knowledge of the infinite. מה שאין כן האמונה שורשה מבחינת כתר מלכות שהוא בבחינת מקיף וסובב. But faith is only, like we said, a surrounding light. It also comes from the crown in its origin, but it's a surrounding light. And because it's a surrounding light, it doesn't integrate. ומה שמאיר מזה בכל נפש אמונת אלוקות, הרי אמונה זו היא גם כן מקיף לבד כהתרה של למעלה מהמוחים, ואינו נכנס בפנימותם לפתוח המידות. And in the same manner that the da'at comes in to awaken the emotions, and it comes all the way down from the keter, from the crown, from the infinite. So the general emunah that we say that every Jew is a believer. We say ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim. Every single Jew has belief. That also comes from the crown, but that is a surrounding light, and you can't build on that the person will have emotions also. I mean, they won't be invested in this. They won't have awareness of how their actions may be contradictory to what they believe in. They won't be able to do that. That can only come from studying this topic in Torah called emunah, and churning the emunah into knowledge. If you don't churn it into knowledge, then the whole emotional, the whole lower faculties don't open up. Okay, so we'll end here, and God willing, continue tomorrow.
If I send you a WhatsApp later.